Questions politicians don't like to answer are being raised on the sidelines of the UK's leading coalition parties conference. The Freedom Zone is anxious over the erosion of civil liberties in the country, as well as what it sees as the domination of Britain by the EU. RT's Laura Emmett's been hearing from those at the meeting.
It's hard to think of a more apt time for a group of Eurosceptics such as are gathering here at the Freedom Zone these 2 days to gather, in fact. We saw a summer of calm in Europe, but then last week we saw an uprising again in the unrest that's come as a result of the austerity measures that certain European countries are threatening or have already introduced as a response to the European debt crisis. In Brussels alone, 100,000 people gathered last week to protest those austerity measures, and Ireland, of course, has edged closer to default. It's been announced that the cost of rescuing Irish banks will amount to almost 50 billion euros, and that's caused a lot of consternation in Ireland. It's crunch time there, really. Either this next round of austerity measures does work, or it looks likely that Ireland will have to go cap in hand to the EU and the IMF, much like Greece had to do in such a humiliating way. All those things, of course, are a threat to the Eurozone, and some at the Freedom Zone here think that that's a good thing, that the EU has got too involved in individual countries' sovereignty and their personal liberties. Now, for more on that, I'm joined by Alex Dean, who's one of the directors of Big Brother Watch. Alex, thanks very much for talking to us. Now, Big Brother Watch deals with the erosion of privacy and the liberty of individual citizens. Do you think that the EU plays a part in that?
Oh, I absolutely do. And I think that the European arrest warrant and attached to it the European investigative order represents one of the most significant threats to British freedom and to British privacy, for that matter. Some 1,300 people were sent to Europe, not even extradited, there's no judicial process, sent to Europe to face charges in Europe without a British judge looking at it under the European arrest warrants, and I think that's wrong. And
in fact, many countries in the European Union opted out of that, didn't they? But the UK chose not to.
Well, the opt-out could only apply for a certain specified time, unless you wanted to renew it and unless you wanted to make a fuss, and our government, of whatever political colour, never seems to want to make a fuss in Europe, even though we're entitled to.
And in fact, William Hague, the new Foreign Secretary, he specifically said that he would stop the transfer of powers to the European Union, and yet he's opted further into the European investigation order.
I would urge the coalition government to really look very hard at the European arrest warrant, which so far they've failed to do. It seems to me this is one of the most important issues on their agenda, and everyone expected them to do so. So really, I think they have to act.
And let's talk about CCTV cameras as well, which is one of your main bugbears. Britons are the most watched people in the world, more CCTV cameras here per capita than anywhere else. Do you not think that that makes us more secure as a nation?
Well, that's not what the evidence suggests. The Campbell collaboration did a peer-reviewed study of all reports into CCTV that were done to any academic standard, and none of them suggested that it made us any safer, except for a marginal increase in safety in car parks. And for that marginal increase, we've sacrificed enormous amounts of money and a great deal of privacy too.
That's Alex Dean from Big Brother Watch. I'll be here all day talking to various people here at the Freedom Zone and bringing you more on what's threatening civil liberties in Britain today.